All right, let's bring you this now. Some of the cases relating to the Marikana massacre were settled in the Pretoria High Court yesterday. However, 15 matters have been stood down to the 15th and 16th of September for finalizations. The settlements are for those who suffered serious injuries. So let's get an update now on the progress made in the last 3 weeks. We're joined by Andries Nkome, who represents some of the injured. Andries, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you. What can you tell us about yesterday and the Pretoria High Court presence, I suppose, that you had yesterday?
Good morning and thanks for having me. What happened was that yesterday was the last day that the court had allocated us to settle the Marikana matters, simply because we had approached the court and they had allocated the 15th of July up until the 19th of August for these matters to be settled. Sadly, we could not find one another in respect of the 15 matters that you were talking about. But in respect of the rest, we've been able to find one another and we are in agreement. Now, we approach the court again to say we would like to have another special allocation. The court allocated us the 15th of September as well as the 16th for the 15 matters to be settled. So it looks as if between the following week and the 15th of September, we should once more keep on trying to find one another into settling these matters. Hopefully, we will be able to. But obviously, it didn't happen as per the Solicitor General has stated that it will be by the end of August.
Right. Andries, let's just start with those matters which you have found one another on, as I'm quoting you here. Can you share with us what's been agreed on? Can you share some more details about where the agreement lies?
Yes, essentially the matters were about the calculation of amounts that are due for damages to each individual claimant who was injured in the Marikana massacre. Now, the amounts stemmed from what we call special damages. Special damages is losses of support or losses of income immediately after the injuries, as well as future losses of incomes, past losses of medical expenses, as well as the future medical expenses. Now, over and above that, there is a different head that we call general damages. General damages essentially means pain and suffering damages. So it is there that there isn't an expert that would essentially tell you as to what is the extent of general damages that's supposed to be compensated to somebody that has suffered a knee fracture, a femur fracture or a toe fracture. So it is those that we've been able to try and find one another on in respect of the matters that we settled. But in respect of the next coming batch of matters, that's where we cannot find one another.
Yeah. So with the 15 remaining ones, I mean, where do the challenges lie there in terms of getting a settlement or reaching an agreement?
The essential glitch is that we are proposing a figure and the government is proposing a much lesser figure. And we are saying there isn't particularly a calculation in respect of what a person would have suffered. Like, for example, would have somebody who was shot from a helicopter where a bullet is still lodged in their head and he was hit from the top of the head. So the amount of general damages that we say that person suffered is a bit more extensive than somebody who was just shot and a bullet came through a thigh muscle and just went through.
Yeah. I mean, this has been a journey for you, Andries, right? So far to date, I understand you've settled almost 40 of the 50 cases. Obviously, even yesterday, bringing you more progress in terms of the number of cases you've settled right now. But take me through the journey that you have walked with the victims as well to yesterday at the Pretoria Court.
Look, I think from 2012, when we took these instructions, we had thought that government would try and find us, to try and sit with us and say, how best do we see these matters being settled? And we never thought that they would have to issue summons in 2015. Now, you know that the law of prescription states that if you've got a claim and 3 years goes past without you having issued summons, that claim will prescribe. We never thought that would get to a part where we are compelled to issue summons. We had to issue summons against government, against Ramaphosa, as well as against the lawmen. Now, government accepted liability, but it was only about 5 years back. Thereafter, we had to then start with a process of making sure that we compute. We take these clients to specialists that are supposed to calculate the full extent of the damages. Like, we've got to take them through to actuaries. It was a very, very painful and long and expensive process, but we've been able to get to that point. Fortunately, we were able to even get these matters in front of the courts for the first time this year, now in the past month. We have been able to settle 50% of these matters. We're still looking at settling the rest. But again, over and above this, there's still a nagging matter in relation to the personal liability of both loanmen and the state of Ramaphosa that's still hanging in the Johannesburg High Court. So we are looking forward to that. Post this, we should be able then to properly head to the Johannesburg High Court matter and make sure that the technicalities that the president had raised in his personal capacity should be set aside, and we are supposed to have him be held liable by the court, get him to apologize, get him to participate in a reconciliatory process, and be able to have all of these people appeased out of what transpired out of Marikana.
All right, Andries Nkome, that's where we'll leave it. But thank you so much for this update. Being the representative of some of the victims of the Marikana massacre, quite a long journey has been walked here from 2012 to date. Some cases have been, of course, settled, with Andries saying it's a bit of progress that they're seeing there. They have found one another, as he has mentioned, but there's still 15 other matters that still, of course, need to be addressed and settled. And there's still some challenges there. Surely we will have Andries back as soon as there are other developments on those particular cases.